The Super Mario Bros. Movie has just recently been released in theaters, and with the movie now out, this is probably a good time to follow up on some of the predictions and speculations that I made in a video from November 2022, and how it compares to the final product. Did the predictions I made come true? We will dissect that right now. But first, I'd like to give this disclaimer that this video may contain spoilers to the final movie. Now, I'll try not to go in too crazy on the spoilers aspect of it, but still, if you haven't seen the movie and don't want to be spoiled, it's probably best you see the movie first. So for that, let's begin. Just recently, the Super Mario Bros. Movie was released in theaters, and well, if you want my spoiler-free opinion about it before I start diving deep into this, it was a great film. I saw it in theaters on opening day, and it was a lot of fun. The way it was adapted from the game to the movie worked really well, and the actors who played the characters also did fine for the film as well. That even includes Chris Pratt, who did show a bit of improvement in the final product than he did in some of the earlier trailers that I have covered on my channel. And, well, while he's still not super amazing, his voice as Mario did end up becoming more of like what I was a bit hoping, where Mario would end up like, well, where he's given a more Brooklyn-type accent with a mix of Italian. And the other actors were really good as well. I did like Charlie Day's portrayal as Luigi. I think he was the right person for that role, and of course, Jack Black absolutely killed it as Bowser. Actually, I would say that Jack Black's performance is probably the biggest reason to see the movie, as his role of Bowser brings out the right mix of being both intimidating as well as bringing a very comedic touch to it. It's fun, it's a very fun movie, and I look forward to seeing what they do with the sequel going forward. But of course, now that the movie is out, and a lot of people, including myself, has seen it, this is probably a good time to reflect on a video that I made previously, where I gave my predictions as to what Mario's origins in the film might be. This was a video I made back in November of 2022, and during that time, only the first trailer to the Super Mario Bros. Movie had been out. We knew nothing else about the film beyond that initial teaser trailer, and a few small tidbits of info, so the most we could have done at that point was speculate. Well, it's been 6 months since I made that video, and today, I'm gonna go over just what did I get right from that video. This is where I'm gonna go into some of the spoilers from the movie. Now, while it's not gonna contain the most major spoilers from the film, this is mostly going to go into the origins aspect of it, among other things, but still, I would recommend that you actually see the movie before you actually proceed any further with the video, because, well, I'm going to dive into it right now. Now, of course, I had to rewatch the video that I did on Mario's origin story, as there were several points I completely forgot about that I made. But of course, I will go into what I got right and what I got wrong. And probably the point that I made in the video that I was most wrong about, well, dead wrong in fact, was the part where I talked about the possibility of Donkey Kong having a part in Mario's origin story. This, of course, wasn't the case at all, as Donkey Kong showed up in pretty much the second act of the film, as Princess Peach takes Mario to the Jungle Kingdom as they were looking for an army to stop Bowser. The original prediction I made about Donkey Kong coming from Mario's Brooklyn location is not one I was super confident about, and was really only a small possibility. But we knew very, very little about Donkey Kong's role in the film at that point, and, well, I had no idea what they were going to do with the character. Like, DK's role that he had in the Mario games was either connected to the original arcade game and in the Mario spin-off titles. And well, prior to the movie, Donkey Kong mainly showed up in his own spin-off titles, with his role in the Mario franchise being limited either to the classic arcade game, in Mario spin-off titles, and in the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games for the DS and Game Boy Advance. He was kind of a character of his own franchise, and that was kind of why I wasn't really expecting him to play a huge role in the film. But then again, it was revealed that Cranky Kong was going to be in the film, so that part was kind of hard to make out. Still, I think it is good that they did go with the direction of having Donkey Kong become part of the Jungle Kingdom overall, as it does open up the possibility of DK actually having his own spin-off film at one point. Now, I wasn't initially hopping on the bandwagon that they should make a Donkey Kong movie, but well, after seeing this movie and seeing the world of Donkey Kong that was portrayed, particularly all of the individual Kongs that is shown and adapted from the Donkey Kong Country titles, I kind of do want to see that happen. I kind of do want to see this being made into an individual movie, as I feel like all of the cameos that is shown is only a taste of what a full-on Donkey Kong movie would be like. I also feel like the Mario vs. Donkey Kong rivalry was also captured well as part of the movie. Like, we didn't just see the dynamic happen within the Coliseum scene, oh no. There were several moments all throughout the film where we see Mario and Donkey Kong pitting against each other, and that feels like it represented that rivalry that went on all throughout the years. Even recently, as we go through like the Mario vs. Donkey Kong titles that came out for the Game Boy Advance and DS. And, well, another reason why I made that original prediction of Donkey Kong being part of Mario's Brooklyn origin is, well, also because I was even predicting that Mario may have several jobs in the film before becoming a plumber. Now, while that aspect of it wasn't shown in the film, there is a chance that that possibility is still there in the Mario movie universe. In fact, the movie does actually mention that Mario and Luigi had at least one other job before going into the plumbing business. Now, we don't see what that said job is, but this goes into one of the other predictions that I made back in November. One character that we knew for sure was actually going to be in the film. This happens right after we get to the first part where Mario appears in, where they're in the pizzeria talking about how much they love their plumbing commercial, and during this we get this trucker-looking character antagonizing Mario and Luigi for starting up their own plumbing business. Now, most people in the audience may not recognize this character or even really care about him, but that's Spike, otherwise known as Foreman Spike, who was a character from Wrecking Crew. Now, in the original video that I made back in November, I predicted that Mario and Luigi will have worked as construction workers as part of the Wrecking Crew, and that would be something that was going to be shown in the film. Now, was I right about that? Well, no, I wasn't right about them actually being construction workers in the movie, but that doesn't mean that I'm completely wrong about them being construction workers. So, part of what this movie does explain is that Mario and Luigi leave their old job to become plumbers. This was what was setting up much of the first act of the film, as the decision of them leaving their old job ends up being laughed at, both by Spike and members of Mario and Luigi's family. Mario's dad, who is played by Charles Martinet, isn't so thrilled about Mario leaving his old job and gives him the cold shoulder. Now, the movie explains that they leave a job, but it doesn't actually say what job that is. The only thing we do know about is that Spike was their boss, and if you look at his hat, it shows the Wrecking Crew logo on it, which is very likely the job Mario and Luigi worked for is indeed construction workers. So really, that leaves a bit more to the imagination. We may not see this played out in the film, but, well, if you play Wrecking Crew on the NES, it's essentially Mario and Luigi's old job in their Brooklyn location. So really, my original prediction about Foreman Spike isn't completely wrong, it just wasn't actually fully shown in the film. Really, Spike's role in the film is extremely minor, and really only sets up the first act of the film. He doesn't really appear all that much, and part of it I think is related to the fact that this film, in general, is very fast-paced. A lot of events were happening all at once, and as a result, there wasn't as much time left to show some of the other aspects in Mario and Luigi's life without slowing down the pacing of the film. And Spike is a relatively unimportant character in the film, which is also kind of the same mark that Spike left throughout all of the Mario franchise, as, like I said before in the original video that I made, he was a very obscure character that nobody really remembers. In fact, his most major role in the Mario franchise was probably Wrecking Crew 98 for the Super Famicom, and that was a Japan-only title. Still, it's kind of good that the film does recognize and acknowledge a character that's as obscure as Foreman Spike, and his role could very well be seen as an Easter egg. But really though, I think the part that I predicted in that original video that I was most right about, more than anything else, is that Mario comes from Brooklyn in the film. At this point, that's extremely obvious to anybody who's following the movie. But at the time that I made that video, that actually wasn't so obvious. In fact, there were actually some who commented on that video that tried to refute Mario's Brooklyn origins by saying, "Oh no, he's not gonna come from Brooklyn, but rather he's gonna come from New Donk City from Mario Odyssey." Now, that too would have been plausible. But really, the fact that the movie still had Brooklyn being part of Mario's origin story goes into what I was saying about this film from the very beginning, and that even holds true in the final product. And that is the part about how the Super Mario Bros. Movie taps into the lore of what has been portrayed in Mario media all throughout the 90s. Kinda similar to the chili dogs that was used for Sonic the Hedgehog, both in the cartoons and the comics, where that would also be used in the Sonic movies. And same with how Mario's lore was also used from the cartoons to the live-action movie. And even though Mario's Brooklyn origins isn't technically canon in the official Mario games, that doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be canon in the movie, especially since it was being worked on by a whole large team within Illumination, who may have researched a lot of Mario's lore overall and used it in the movie, even if Nintendo themselves doesn't necessarily see those aspects as being part of the Mario universe. I mean, well, the fact that that Illumination used the theme song to the Super Mario Bros. Super Show really shows that that's just what they were going for, as that is something that I never thought I would see being used in any other piece of Mario media. Plus, the fact that the original teaser trailer showed Mario originating from a real-world location also further led me to believe that perhaps Brooklyn was going to be Mario's home in the film, since that aspect wasn't also really canon in the Mario video games as well. Even though New Donk City wasn't Mario's home in the movie, there were several aspects of New Donk City that was brought over in Mario's Brooklyn location. As much like New Donk City, this movie's version of Brooklyn is littered with Easter eggs that comes from all sorts of references to classic Nintendo games, primarily from the NES era. These include the Punch-Out Pizzeria, with artwork showing some of the fighters from the Punch-Out video game, to some of the Game & Watch symbols being placed throughout, and even a moment referencing World 1-1 of the original Super Mario Bros. I mean, hell, even if you look around Mario's bedroom, you can even see some small Easter eggs of posters resembling other classic Nintendo games, such as NES Golf, Rad Racer, and World Class Track Meet. Also, Pauline, who is the damsel in distress from the original Donkey Kong arcade game, is mayor of this film's portrayal of Brooklyn, who was also the mayor of New Donk City in Mario Odyssey. And well, in a way, Foreman Spike's appearance could also be deemed as an Easter egg. As well, he's not really a character that anyone other than the most hardcore Mario fans would recognize, and anybody watching this may not even give too much of a second thought on his character. So overall, I would say that the predictions I got are right, or wrong, or was a little bit in the middle. Obviously, the Donkey Kong prediction was completely wrong. The prediction of Mario having multiple jobs, which that was another point that I made in the original video, could still technically be true, even if the movie doesn't explain it. And the Foreman Spike prediction, I was maybe half right about, as he plays an extremely minor part, but, well, Mario and Luigi did leave their business, which is part of the Wrecking Crew, but the movie doesn't go into that much detail on it, so really it's a matter of interpretation. And of course, the Brooklyn prediction is the main one that I did get right. That's like a big part of the film at this point. But either way, it is fun to look back at these predictions and see just what came true and what didn't. And regardless of what predictions did come true, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is a very fun watch. I enjoyed it so much that I actually decided to see it a second time. And man, oh man, is it a fun ride. What can I say? And I really look forward to see what they do with the sequel. And, well, hell, even other Nintendo-related movies going forward because, well, with how much the movie made a record-breaking $1 billion in the box office, well, Nintendo Cinematic Universe, let's-a go! But what did you guys think? Did you see the Super Mario Bros. Movie? And did you enjoy it? And did you have your own predictions of how you think the movie may have ended up? And last, would you want to see me make predictions of what the Mario movie sequel may be like? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, then subscribe to DSL Media for more content. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.